Hey, hi everybody. Welcome. That's right. This is our first early evening conversations with Geoff. And oh boy, you better sit tight because the young lady we're bringing here in a few minutes is going to just, oh man. We were chatting behind before I came on, and it just was, oh man, there's so many reasons why you have to be here tonight. And for those of you that have been following conversations with Geoff, we love you. We appreciate you. You're sharing it. You're supporting us. And those of you that are hearing it for the first time, welcome to the community. You picked the best night you could to join us, right? And all you got to do is do a couple of things. One of them is make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're calling your friends, your relatives, your mama, your daddy, anybody. Have them sit down and dial in for the next 25 minutes or so, because we've got something great in store for you, right? And the mission at Conversations with Geoff, for those of you that don't know, is really simple. We want people to become aware of the conversation they're having with themselves about themselves. Once you become aware, you can see the impact that it's having. It's either helping you or holding you back. There's no middle of the road, right? We like to call it stinkin thinking in the community, right? You know, that stuff that smells that's on your shoes. You're like, oh man, why is this? That's thinking about I can, or I feel tired, or I'm miserable. All the things we tell ourselves end up being how we live and how our life is, right? So imagine being able to wake up every day and say, I can. Waking up every day saying, I will. Wake up every day saying, I must. No matter what comes along, I know I'm meant for more, and I'm ready, baby, right? And you're going to hear something today from this our guest that's going to be really powerful around some things. You're like, oh, man. So don't go away, all right? And remember this. We're all meant for something. My question to you is, are you living the life that you feel like you're meant to live? And if you aren't, then hang around here. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop a chat in here where you're from, what it is that we can do for you. And most importantly is remember this. Change your thoughts, change your life. Got to do the work, but it's possible. And you're going to hear it from our guests coming up here, right? So I'm going to read a bio, and don't go away, because at the end of it, I'm going to give you a little homework that we believe will help you take the next step toward making a difference in your life, one thought at a time, right? All right, so let me pull this up here, and I'm going to look at this because there's some things in this bio that I don't want to leave out, all right? So listen, follow me as I read through this. What do you do when the FBI shows up at your home? Well, you say a prayer, maintain your integrity, and let the chips fall where they may. This is what she had to face. Pegged by her coaching peers as Olivia Pope. Y'all know who Olivia Pope is, baby. Man, Olivia Pope of Life of Coaching. Michelle has proven to overcome every scandal in her life with integrity. She believes that every disgraceful experience can be healed. Michelle triumphs over adversity, and she is a true example of what trusting God entails. Born to a single mother and raised under Caribbean roots, baby, in Brooklyn, New York, Michelle is one of 6 children and was the first in her family to attend college. She didn't stop there. As a result of her strong desire to move forward in life, she joined the Army, married, became a mom, and a homeowner, all by the age of 23. This lady was busy getting down, right? She continued with her education, got her master's degree in marriage and family counseling from Liberty University. Michelle has good experience, Michelle has experienced the bad and the ugly. Boy, she knows what it's like when the FBI takes an unexpected turn, when life takes an unexpected turn. The FBI showed up and the scandal ensued because of the choices her ex-husband made. And she may talk about that too. He went to prison and she was left to support and care for the family, as well as regroup and determine her new life course. Regrouped and determined a new life course. She could have said, hey, I give up and threw in the towel, but instead she chose to embrace the changes and face her fears. She ended the marriage after 16 years and began pursuing who she's meant to be. She laughs, she travels, and she eats. She enjoys encouraging people to be authentic and to live her life with integrity. She is a mother of 2 beautiful girls who reside in Texas. I'd love to meet her daughter someday. I haven't met them yet. I'm sure if they're like her mom, they are beautiful, beautiful people. She speaks the deep, authentic truths to her clients. and feels comfortable and confident opening up in every meeting. She just lays it out there. If you want to hear the truth, you want to be here. You want to be here tonight, that's for sure. She assists with clients with practical solutions to thrive and overcome their current situation. Michelle is transparent in her prayers and in her daily conversations with people. She's heavenly minded and earthly good. She's been featured on various outlets such as Fox, CBS, NBC, and The Free for One. She's described by her friends as a funny, faithful, courageous woman of God. Her determination, resilience, and passion make her a champion of our Lord. This is what I'll share with you. Her life verse in this season is Isaiah 61:7. Instead of shame and dishonor, you will enjoy a double share of honor. You will possess a double portion of prosperity in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Michelle Thomas out of Dallas. All right. Hey, what's up, Michelle?
Hey, Geoff. How you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Glad to have you here. Bright smile, light up the world. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I didn't mean to take so long, and I hope I did your bio justice. I mean, there's so
yes,
that you did. And I'm like many other folks out there. When you talk about scandal, it's like, ooh, is she criminal or is she bad? I mean, let's tell us what scandal is. What's going on with that? And how all that came out. Let's just get right to it. Come on with it.
Yes. So I think any and everyone can experience a scandal, right? A scandal is something that could be humiliating, morally humiliating, embarrassing to you. For some people, a scandal could be a divorce. It could be a child going down the wrong path, making some poor choices. So whatever you deem as really hurtful and shameful for you, that's a scandal. And that can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Well, I had my own scandal. At the time, my ex-husband and I, we were married for about 13 years. Okay. Wow. I'm outside doing yard work and I see two gentlemen show up at the door. I didn't see them come in. I just saw them leave. Now, I thought that they were Jehovah's Witnesses. I thought they were trying to witness to us. Okay. Or maybe trying to sell us something. I walked up and I asked him like, hey, who was that? Well, it was the FBI. Okay. The FBI was at my home. And when they realized that I was there and our girls were there, they made a decision. They said, look, we can't question you here. And so my husband at the time, he was being investigated. I didn't know what it was about. He told me he had some, there were some allegations about inappropriate behavior. And so, what does that mean? And I'm thinking, this is a lie. At the time we were in ministry. So I was like, oh no, he would never do that.
Not my husband, right? Oh.
Right? Totally defending him. But I was wrong. All right. I was wrong. He was being accused of rape. And he was actually being charged. He was being charged with rape. And it turned out because of the nature of his job, it was rape. And he was sentenced to prison. And everything that I thought was solid came crumbling down. Like my life was over. It was like a Tyler Perry movie.
Wow. Yeah.
It was bad, right? You go from this cute little family in the suburbs to like, what just happened?
Man.
You're like, what happened here? My whole life fell apart. Every single thing that I thought was real, it wasn't real anymore. And I had to face the reality, like, this is my life now. All right. It's all over the news. It's on the newspaper. Like, this has to be a bad dream. Surely this is a bad dream.
Wake up.
Oh, it needs to be a bad dream. It needs to be.
Wake me up.
But Geoff, it wasn't a bad dream. It was my reality. And a lot of times it's hard to accept that something like this is happening to you. And so you go through in your mind and you try to figure out like what went wrong? Like, how did we get here? Why is this happening? Why me?
Why you?
You know? you go through all these questions and emotions, the highs, the lows, like, no. And then you get to the point where you have to accept, like, this is really happening. And you got to pull yourself together. And unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to lament and to dwell on it. I just couldn't because I had two kids that I needed to take care of.
Mm.
And so I had to put my life back together and start all over. And, we finally divorced. It took a long time, but I think mentally, I couldn't believe that he actually did this. So it took
Yeah.
me a long time to actually divorce because
Mm.
I was married to I was married to the idea of
Yeah.
something. I was
Yeah.
married to the idea of this happy marriage that
Yeah.
wasn't really there.
Wow.
Apparently not, because he had an affair and so
So I gotta
I was
ask,
married. Yeah.
yeah, I gotta interrupt you and ask. I mean,
Yes.
all that going on. I mean, man, how you stood strong, but you didn't hide. You didn't want to. Most people would. I mean, wow.
So I
What
did.
was that
I
like?
wanted to run. I wanted to hide.
Mm.
I didn't want to get out of bed. I think
Mm.
there were many days like I was just in a very depressive state because I was just in denial.
Ooh.
And it was just like, and can I tell you, when scandal comes home,
Mm.
that's the name of my book. When scandal comes home,
Candle
it
come.
hits the body. Yeah, it
Yeah.
hits the body. And I was feeling physical pain. All right. So my heart was hurting. My physical body was in pain. Like my stomach was like in knots. Like it felt like it was torn up and I couldn't eat. Like I was just in physical pain. And it
Mm.
lasted for a number of days. So it took me some time to actually begin to walk again, to physically go out
Yeah.
and walk, to kind of release the trauma that hit my body.
Yeah.
And so I'm a believer. And so I had to do a lot of praying, but I
Mm.
didn't just do prayer. I did prayer, but I also found a therapist, someone
Okay.
that I could talk to and release and ask those really difficult questions.
Yeah.
And had to face some reality. I had to face reality. Like,
Mm.
you're gonna have to pick this thing up. And I genuinely didn't know how I was gonna do it without the grace of God. Okay.
Yeah. I'm listening to you, thinking, man, all the body,
Yeah.
the physical body, the emotional body, the mom, right, the wife, all that just
Yeah.
going up like that, and so
Yes. Yes.
you did that, and I just continue. So you get to where you're like moving forward a little bit, and I mean, what was the turning point? Can you think back on one of the turning points that somebody out there might be stuck to and kind of not sure where? What was the turning point for you?
Yeah, it was a conversation with God.
Mm.
Um, he said something to me, and it was a hard conversation, one that I didn't want to hear because I was in ministry and I
Mhm.
believed that my prayers could change anything. And God had to remind me that He has given man free will and He will not take it away from them.
Mm.
And so my prayers could not undo my ex husband's free will. Lord knows
Yes.
I wanted it to, but it
Yes.
couldn't. And I
Yes.
had to accept that. And then God said to me, he said, there is no right or wrong way to handle this. The way my mind was thinking, I was like, do I stay married? Do I divorce?
Yeah.
And God was informing me, like, it's going to be hard no matter what decision you make. Okay.
Mm.
If you choose to stay and try to work that thing out, it's going to be extremely difficult because trust has been broken and
Yes.
severely broken. There's a
Yeah.
lot of humiliation. It wasn't an
Mm.
affair. Affairs are terrible as it is. But to
Yes.
have one that's publicized,
Yeah.
that's even harder
Yeah.
because you face public humiliation, public
Yeah.
scrutiny. You're experiencing that.
Yeah.
And so, that's going to be hard if I choose to stay. But if I walk away, right,
Yeah.
which I chose to do, that was going to be hard
Yeah.
because I had to now explain, like, to our daughters that we're no longer married.
Yeah.
Okay. That the family that they had, it's over. All
Wow.
right. And how to be able to sort of maintain some type of stability
Mm.
when the bulk of the income is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know a lot of times we tell our kids, like, a divorce, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But we punish them It feels like they're being punished when we take away their home, we take away their
Yeah.
parent, we take
Yeah.
away their school, we take
Yeah.
away everything that was normal for them. And then they say, well, it's not your fault, but why do they feel punished? They feel
Right.
like I'm losing everything.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, how do I hold on to some form of stability,
Mm.
knowing that a lot of things are going to change?
Yeah.
And
And
so, yeah, that was
mm,
that was a really difficult decision, but it was one that I chose to make. So I chose to divorce,
yeah.
and I chose a hard road. It was both roads were going to be hard.
Yeah. Either
So-
way you're going. Yeah. 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 There was no easy road. No easy road.
right, and sometimes we have to accept that
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult.
Right.
And you got to go in understanding that it's going to be difficult. And a lot of times we would choose the path, that with least resistance, right? We're going to choose the easiest path, but
Yeah.
there wasn't one for me. It wasn't an
Yeah.
easy path.
And I'm listening to you, Michelle. I'm thinking too, all these things, and I gotta ask. I mean,
Mhm,
how me when you look back over it, there's got to be that point. And how could I miss it? What was I missing? How could I not see it? I mean,
mhm.
how was that part of it? I mean, I know that was in there somewhere.
Yeah, and it was a conversation that I had with my ex-husband,
Mm,
and he didn't like the conversation that I had. It was a transparent moment, and he didn't like it. And
mm,
he made a decision to have an affair as, I
mm,
guess, a form of retaliation or punishment for the conversation that we had. And unfortunately, this affair went really south. It
wow.
went really south. And I had to accept that, a conversation that I had with my husband led to this.
Mm,
And so I had to accept, well, you battle like, man, maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe I should have, you battle all of
definitely.
those things in your mind.
Yeah,
Like maybe it could have been avoided if I didn't say anything. Maybe I should have, but the reality is people make choices and you
yes.
cannot control people. You
Yeah.
cannot. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
respect the decisions that they make. And
That's right.
sometimes the decisions are really hard,
Yeah.
and they're really bad, and you have to accept it.
Mm,
And that was one of those things. So if there's a woman out there or a man that's trying to, take accountability for something that they shouldn't,
yeah.
like don't put that weight on you. Don't put that pressure. Okay, it's
Yeah.
a heavy weight, and you
Yeah.
have to let people take accountability for their actions. You take accountability for what you've done, and let them take accountability for what they have done. And you got to be firm on that. You have to be firm on that, or else you can go down a spiral, and take and carry a weight that's just too heavy for you.
And it's not yours. That's why
It's not
I asked the
yours.
question. I mean, you're
Yeah,
taking
it's
something
not yours.
that's not yours. And Jackie Brown, hey Jackie, thanks for showing up instead. They're saying, "No, wow, that's so true." So we agree
Yeah.
with that. So I mean, so
Yes.
you're moving through all this. You're getting yourself back together. Um, how'd your daughters go? I mean, how was that piece with them? You know.
Yeah, so that was really difficult because my kids are 7 years apart. So we have
Mm,
one that we had to explain everything to her. She could read. So, we showed her the paper. We had to explain everything in detail to her because she was old enough to understand.
yeah.
And then we had one that was really young. She couldn't understand any of this. And
Mm,
so we didn't talk to her about it. We had to explain things more in a childlike manner,
mm,
and we said, we'd say things like, Daddy made some really bad choices. And because
yeah.
Daddy made some really bad choices, he has to go away for a little bit. You can
Mm,
tell her he's going to prison. She doesn't know what prison is. She's too
right.
young. You know,
Yeah.
she don't know what that means. For all you can say, he's going to the store. It's the
There
same
you
thing.
go.
She doesn't understand.
Yeah.
So we had to really work this thing, and it took a lot of work, a lot of time. We had to be patient, but
Yeah.
I also knew that certain standards could not slide.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't want to give my kids an out, in a sense, a reason to throw off all restraint. Even though I knew that they were hurting,
Yeah.
I had to make sure that there was still going to be, that they didn't hurt themselves
Yes.
by rebelling and
Yeah.
being angry. And,
Yeah.
so there was a lot. It was a lot that was required of me, but I felt like that was the best decision. And when scandals come to your home, there's no perfect answer.
Yeah.
Okay. You can think about all these things in your mind and you're like, look, if you can just get up and get dressed, you're doing good.
Get through the day. Yeah. I mean,
Yes,
baby steps.
yes,
Baby steps that
yes.
go.
Baby steps to get back out there.
Mm,
And so I realized like I couldn't stay there. I realized I couldn't keep lamenting. I couldn't remain stuck. I
yeah.
had to do something. And so I did what I could. I had multiple jobs, just really trying to work in. I had a wonderful church family that really helped fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And I didn't isolate myself.
Yeah.
When scandals happen, people tend to want to isolate because of humiliation and shame. And you can't do that. All right. I don't think that would be a wise decision because you need community.
Yeah.
And so you have to find trusted people that you can be in community with. You can't be in community with everybody because you don't want
Right.
to feel that condemnation and that judgment, but you're going to have some wise counsel around you. And you're going to have a community of people that can hold you up when you can't hold yourself up.
Mm,
And that's what I chose to do. I made
mm,
sure of that. And then there were people that I would kind of do the ebb and flow. That way I didn't burn out my friends with my trauma,
yeah.
right? Because
Like,
you got to understand,
oh,
yeah, the ebb and
friendships
flow.
all the
Like,
kid. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. You don't want to burn a friend out. Like, they not going through this, okay? You don't want to bring them down. Every time they see you, it's trauma, trauma, trauma. We want to
Yeah.
maintain a healthy friendship. So I use
Yeah.
multiple friends and
Mm,
family to kind of help navigate through this whole scandal.
yeah.
And so I took wise counsel and I paid attention
Mm,
to what was happening. And one of the things you have to go deep. You have to really start asking yourself those hard questions. And therapy was one of those things that really helped me to ask those hard questions and to make hard decisions,
yes.
things you don't want to do. And so I got through that. And then I later decided, and I would come across people and they would hear my story. And I was like, man, wow, I would never guess. I would never guess.
Yeah.
Um, because it was just like, just get through, just get through. And I didn't feel I just got through.
Wow.
And then I was asked one year to share my testimony. And I was just like, well, I was being kind of religious. I was like, well, let me pray about it. See what God is going to say. Right.
I'll get back to you. I got to talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah. And I remember at that time I was a teacher and I was in my classroom wiping down tables and I
Mm,
was praying. I said, God, should I tell 1,000 women about the goodness that you displayed in my life during this scandal? And I
mm.
had the answer. What would God say? No, don't tell them. Of course, go share your testimony.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
them know. And that year I got up on a stage and I was about 1,200 women in the audience and I shared my testimony.
Wow.
And when I got off the stage, there were lines of women
Mm,
waiting to speak to me because they had experienced their own personal scandal
mm.
and they wanted to connect. And I was like, there might be something here, God.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it led to me writing my book, When
Yes.
Scandal Comes Home.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the book and just sharing the book, and it was just really the testimony of what happened in my life. I gave some background story because I didn't have a chance to share the background information on stage, but I shared the from the beginning to the end, what
Yeah.
happened and the emotions, the highs, the lows. I didn't want to vilify my ex because he made a poor choice and affairs happen.
Yeah.
Okay, no one ever predicts that it would go that bad. No
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to vilify him. I just want to say what happened and how I got through.
That's right.
And so I went there, wrote the book, and then, started having more opportunities to share my story, get on more stages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, Lord, what else can I do? And that's when I also created my podcast as well, too, Lost Light and Laughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Say that podcast one more time. Make
yes,
people go
it's
out there
called
and rock.
Lost. Yes,
Yes.
it's called Loss, Light, and Laughter. It's an inspirational show about laughter after tragedy. And we talk about significant losses. Everyone experiences a loss in their life.
Yeah.
And then we talk about the light. Where's God in all of this? How does he show up? What prayers did you pray? What did you say? What happened? What did God speak to you?
Yeah.
And then the last is laughter. When is the first time you remember laughing after the loss?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have to laugh.
Yeah.
And for me, laughter was a great resource for me. It was just something I had to find humor in hard stuff.
Mm.
And I think that kept me young. Okay. It kept my youth. Okay. Like you gotta laugh. Because if
Come
you
on, girl.
don't,
Yes. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you don't laugh, you're gonna give up hope.
Yeah.
All right. And you're gonna
Yeah.
get through it. And
Yeah.
so I love to encourage people, let them know like it's bad. I'm not going to deny, I'm not going to downplay your scandal, your trauma. Like, well, it ain't that bad, girl. Sir,
Yeah.
you're going to be no. I'm not going to downplay what happened to you. I am going to listen to you and I am going to instill hope and let
Yeah.
you know that you can get through this. And I'm going to show you some avenues that you can take to get through it. There's no perfect answer. Okay.
Yeah.
All you have to do is keep getting up and applying as much effort as you can that day, and you're going to get stronger. If
Yeah.
you choose to, you're going to get stronger and you're
Yeah.
going to get through that thing. And, right now, I'm in a season where God is asking me to do some things again.
Mm.
And it can be triggering. All
Oh,
right. So
yeah.
if you've experienced a scandal in your life and now you're like, I never want to do that again. Because we make these internal vows. I'm
Yes.
never getting married again. Or
Yeah.
I'll never be in ministry. I'm like, God's like, yes, you are. Yeah, you are. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
right. And so sometimes
Yeah.
you're exhausted, you're burnt out, you're triggered by things. And it's just like taking the time to evaluate where you are,
Mm.
why you're there, and how much of it are you holding on to.
Yeah.
I totally believe in forgiveness,
Mm.
just not for anyone else, but really to heal your heart,
Yeah.
and to have that level of compassion to say, okay, they made a poor choice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it hurt me,
Yeah.
but it didn't kill me.
Yeah.
It hurt, but it didn't kill me.
Yeah.
And as long as I have breath in my body, I can keep going.
Yeah.
And I believe in turning, you know how they say you turn those lemons into lemonade. I'm
Yes.
like, turn your lemons into Chick-fil-A
Oh,
lemonade.
boys.
Okay. Get the good lemonade. Okay.
Real lemonade. Yeah. Yeah.
Learn how to turn that thing around and
Yes.
benefit from it. And it's to the point where it's just like where it no longer phases you, where you learn like
Yeah.
I'm taking a scandal, but I'm using it to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
We were talking before you came on about, and you covered the exhausted around this and the fear of doing something different. I love how you put that, to keep moving, taking those steps. And so before we move away from it, where do we get the book? Where do people find the book, please?
Okay, so you can definitely find the book on Amazon. It's available there. I do have a book website as well too. It's called When Scandal Comes Home. It's the name of the book. You can just type it in whenscandalcomeshome.com. You can pull up the book. What I'll do is I'll autograph it for you and get it in the mail and send it out. And so I want to show you what the book looks like. Let me see.
Please. Yeah.
Okay, so I have the workbook now that I'm really promoting. This is the smaller book that you can get. You can get the book on Amazon or on the website.
Okay.
And then, but I do love the workbook because the workbook, it's almost like coaching. You get to read the story, and then there's some questions in the back, right?
Okay.
That you get to ask yourself.
Mm.
So you can go through your scandal in the privacy of your own home, asking yourself those hard questions and to get to where you need to be in life.
Yeah.
And so whenever someone wants to, talk about it, I'm always available to talk about the book and also talk about changes in how to transition away from a scandal and to have a life and to start a business and to use that scandal to really help people. So it doesn't seem like a total L. It's not a total loss.
It's not a
right?
big loss. Oh, it's set to something greater. And obviously,
Yes.
I mean, look, smile. I mean, you're living proof through your
Yes.
purpose that
Absolutely.
we can bounce back and we can keep stepping.
Yes.
So as we kind of wind down, thank you so much. And those of you that will hear the replay, make sure you go back and you get her information and you go back. I mean, she said so many things that you got listen to this thing a couple different times and take some notes.
And
So
share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. You know a friend that's going through a scandal. You're like, ooh,
that's
girl,
right.
you've got to listen to this.
You
Sir, you got to
listen.
hear this.
That's right. I mean, it's real, right? And you're living proof. And then if you need more proof of it, they can get a hold of you and do that, and they can get your book. So what are you offering? What's coming up in your world now that maybe people can kind of dial into coming up?
Hi, Geoff. Well, I think we lost him. So let me give you my information. You can always go to my website. I am michellea.com. That's I am MICHELLEA.com. I am michellea.com. You can go to the book's website when Scandal comes home. .com. You can do that, or you can find it on Amazon. You can check it out there. I know that they'll probably put my information in the description box. If you had any questions or concerns and you want to connect with me, I'll be happy to meet with you and just go over whatever it is that you heard on this episode that you want more information on. I am also a life coach. I do public speaking. I have the podcast. I would love for you to listen to that. It's called Lost Light and Laughter. It is available on every platform. And you can tune into that. We have made it into 25, I think it's 25 countries. Okay. So we have people from all over the world. They share their testimonies of significant losses that they've experienced in their life. You know, they talk about where God shows up, and then they talk about the laughter, because I truly believe in laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. It helps to keep you going. It helps to keep you encouraged. And so I always want to leave on a high note. I want people to laugh. I want them to have hope. I want them to believe that there is life after scandal. There's life after loss. Okay, you can get through it. And so that's what I do. I help people in everyday losses, everyday experiences. I have a retreat coming up this summer. It's in June in Round Top, Texas. I am going to be working with mental health professionals. So if you're a therapist, a life coach, you work for CPS, work for the police force, anything, even school counselors, anything where you are working in an environment where you are pouring into people constantly and you're just helping to keep them afloat. I have a 3-day, 2-night, all inclusive retreat just for you, because you pour into everyone else. I want to actually pour into you this time. And so if you go to my website, I'll give you the website to the actual retreat where you can go there directly. It's codhouseretreats.com, CODHOUSERETREATS.com, codhouseretreats.com. You can go there. It's called the Waiting to Exhale Retreat. It's going to be in Round Top, Texas, June 23rd to the 25th. It's going to be a phenomenal, life-changing conference. I just want to give back to those that give to others every single day. I want you to know that you are seen, you are valued. Okay, I'm going to make you laugh. Okay, I'm going to fill you up because you're filling everyone else up every single day. And a lot of times, you go unnoticed. People don't see you. And one of the things we say at Cod House Retreats, it's where the unseen are seen. And so I created this retreat so that you know you are seen by God and you're seen by man as well too. And I want you to be refilled so that you can help others and you're not pouring from an empty cup. And so I'm hoping Geoff is going to get back on.
Yeah, I'm just listening to you. I didn't want to interrupt. You were just laying out
I'm just going on and on and on. But this is what I do, people.
I don't know. I messed up the sound now. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's all good. It is all good. All right.
Destroying
Things
the internet.
happen. Listen, it's all good. All right. And that's how I am. I'm down to earth. It
We
is
can't
what it
hear you.
is. It's going to be all right. So I'm
I'm gonna
good.
go away.
I'm good. All right. I'm good, Geoff. All right, I'm waiting for him to come back on and just kind of close out the show. So please share this episode with your friends and your family, anyone that could possibly use this. I just want to get awareness out and let people know that there's life after scandal. And so thank you so much, Geoff, for having me on. I really appreciate it. All right, Geoff, you take it away. It's you. It's all you now.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a good one. All right, everyone. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if we're still here or not. Looks like it may be frozen out, but wow, what a great session. Mm. All right. I just want to say thank you, Michelle. Apologize for the technology stuff. There's a storm going on outside, but please, please, please go in the chat, get her information, get the book, look for her podcast, Loss, Lights, Laughter. Come out and support this young lady in her mission. Make sure you get to her event in June. If you can't find the information, please reach out to me. Wow, what a session. Sorry again for the technology. And Michelle, thank you for being who you are and reminding people how powerful we can be if we don't give up. If we get community around us, if we find the right people, if we get help if we need it, the right kind of help. And whatever your spiritual belief is, you lean into that full speed, right? And that's what the whole show's about, changing the conversation when life shows up in your head to I can, I will, and I must. Warrior mentality, not victim mentality. So please, 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 my link is in the chat. Jackie Brown, thank you so much for showing up. Steph, we really appreciate it. And Michelle, once again, thank you so much. And everybody that's been following us, you know what I'm going to tell you. Get that stinking thinking under control. Get a hold of our guests and show them some love. And remember, you change your thoughts, you change your life. All right, everybody. Thanks again for a great night.